Students, you got the attendance link. Can you please click on the attendance link? Is it working? Just let me know.
No, sir.
It's not working?
No, sir, it's not.
Stay. So, can you check it now?
Yes, sir, it is working.
Okay, fine, fine. Fill it, students. Do you have any questions with regard to the previous class? The research process, formulating the problem. We discussed about management problem and research problem. Then testing people then evaluate the cost of the research. Okay, how the cost is evaluated. Then preparing a list of information. What all information the researcher has to collect before launching a product. We discussed about that. Today we'll be touching upon something called as research design decisions. Okay. Still, like, I need just a moment, students. Okay, research design decisions. Okay. The research should be exploratory or conclusive. Okay. In the first part, we discussed about what is exploratory research. Okay. So whenever a researcher goes for preparing a research design, okay, steps, one of the step in research design process. Here we need to understand, should he go for exploratory research or conclusive research? Okay, so that is very much required. Now when I say exploratory, we already had a discussion on this. What is exploratory? Still let's revise it. Exploratory, when we say students, beginning stage of the problem, we call it as exploratory research. Yes, something is happening in the initial stage and the marketer will find it, or the researcher will get to know that there is some problem with regard to your brand or product, or some problem is there in the beginning stage. Okay, so such research we call it as exploratory research. Okay, so if we say the sales are declining, let me continue the same example so that it will be easy for you. If the sales are declining of company X, okay, then the salesman will have a meeting and will ask the five subordinates what is the reason, and they'll give many reasons. But out of this reason, what is the right reason? They have totally no idea about it. So such research we call it as exploratory research. They just do an assumption. There's a hypothesis. This might be the reason. This could be the reason. Blah 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 things. Okay. Whereas conclusive research, when I say out of these five reasons, they are going to conclude saying that our advertisements are not good, so our sales are declining. So he's going to conclude it. He's going to end it. Okay. So here in the conclusive research, what they're going to do is they're going to narrow down the options. Okay, only one or few factors are responsible for the decline in the sales. So out of these 5 reasons, they are going to pick any one reason and say that this is the reason why our sales are declining. Okay, so such reason we call it as conclusive research. Okay, now take an example of Harley Davidson. I've given an example of Harley Davidson. Recently, it moved out of Indian country. Okay, the many reasons were given. Blah 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 things happened in the market. But the problem over here was it was a heavy engine, one, and second is the people could not afford to go for buying Harley when compared to other bikes. So that is the reason Harley just moved out of our country because of the taxation policies of our government. Blah 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 things happened, so they could not take it anymore. So they just moved out of our country. So here we concluded saying that this is the reason why Harley moved out of India. That's as simple as it. So again, I repeat, exploratory. It's a beginning stage. There could be many reasons, but what is the right reason? We don't know. I'll give one more example. Don't write it in a paper, just to make you understand. If you want something brand as an example, then let me know. In the school or college days, you might have got less marks in mathematics or as any subject which you don't like. And your parents might ask you, what is the reason why you didn't get good marks? The first time you say faculty is not good. Okay. Your friend also comes to the home and says the classes were not taken properly, blah, 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 many reasons he gives. But now your parents are really in a dilemma. They're thinking, what is happening? But conclusive, when they come to the college and they just check what is the reason you didn't attend the class at all, then forget about understanding the subject. So here we concluded saying that the reason we get to know. So that's such reasons we call it as conclusive research. Do not write it in the paper, just to make you understand what is conclusive research. Okay. Is that fine? Harley as an example. Showerly can take as one more example why it moved out of Indian country. Okay, they concluded saying that heavy engine people could not afford to buy it. Okay, they just moved out of Indian country. As simple as that. Okay, we can conclude it saying that Showerly moved out of Indian country. Yeah. Hey, Vodafone and Idea, they were unable to capture the Indian market. Okay, so they had to join hands together. And when they join hands together, a bit of market they have captured. So that is again one more example for conclusive research. Is that clear, students? Shall I move to the next point? Yes, no, just let me know when you want yes in the message or.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay. Select the sample type. Okay. When we say we select the sample type, yes, please.
So attendance link in WhatsApp group is not accepting the responses.
Who is this? Rohini, right? Rohini, just ignore the previous one and accept the new one. One second.
Okay,
I've sent a new link. Is it opening? This where it is opening is working. Please check it now.
Okay. Yes, sir, it's opening.
Yeah. Okay. Done. Okay. Coming to this, select the sample type. The first task is to carefully select the group of people or the stores that are to be sampled. Okay. If I'm running an MBA college, okay, my sample type is all the undergraduate colleges. Is my sample type. Means who is that person who is going to opt my course is really important. If I'm selling 4G connection SIM cards in the market, my sample type is all the people who have got 4G connection cell phone. Okay, which is 4G connection can be enabled in this cell phone. So such thing we call it a sample type. Means I got to carefully select which group of people I need to ask. Okay. Now if I'm selling textbooks in the market, okay, if I'm selling Philip Porter textbook in the market, okay, marketing textbook. If I'm going to undergraduate students and asking them to, are you willing to buy Philip Porter textbook, marketing textbook, they really wonder why you're saying this. Because the syllabus and the subject textbook, okay, it's vast, okay, they don't require it, okay. If I'm selling black ink pen in the market, okay, then I'm coming to your college under VTU and I'm going to sell the black ink pen to you people because you're the right people for me to sell the products in the market, okay. So I need to understand who is that person who is going to take my product, okay. The first task is to carefully select which group of people or stores are to be sampled. So I need to understand who are to be sampled first. Simply doing a research is of no use. a researcher should be very smart enough to understand who is their sample size. Okay, so only then push the product to them or else do a survey on them. Okay, is that clear, students? Select the sample type. Yes, no. Shall I move to next part? Determine the sample size. Okay. Okay, determine the sample size. Okay. Smaller the sample size, larger the error and vice versa. Okay, when we say this, always remember, in the previous class also I was telling the same thing. If your sample size happens to be less, okay, you tend to make more error. If your sample size happens to be more, you tend to make less errors. Okay, now let's understand this, how it works. Okay. Now, say for example, I am doing a survey about, I have introduced a chocolate in the market, okay, and I want to do a survey. My sample size is somewhere around 100 people. Okay, Belgavi city, in that I am picking 100 people. In this 100 people, I am asking only 10 people, how is this chocolate? Okay. All these 10 people said one of the best chocolate out there. Okay, it's really, really nice. Okay, rest 90, I didn't ask them. I just wrote a report saying that everyone loves the chocolate. My sample size was 100. But how many did I actually interview was only 10. So I tend to make more errors in this. Whereas if I interview at least 90 out of 100, okay, then I tend to make less errors because I'm leaving only 10 people. I'm ignoring 10 people. If I do all 100, really well and good. But if I select only 90 people out of 100, still there will be no errors in my sample. So such thing we call it as determining the sample size. Means a researcher should clearly understand what is his sample size. Okay. Is that clear? Determine the sample size. Okay. Okay. The next is organize the field work. Okay. In research, the researcher has to conduct a field work. This includes selection, training, evaluating the field sales force to collect the data. So here, the researcher should conduct a field work, go to various outlets, go to various customers, ask them to do a survey. The researcher will conduct a survey. He will be asking various questions with regard to the topic what he has selected. In the coming days, I'll be asking you to conduct a survey on various product students. Either you take a call on this, what sector you are looking for in your future. You can conduct a survey on that. Just have a discussion with me before doing that, and we'll hit the floor. Okay, then coming to this data collection. Data collection unit 4, we'll be studying it separately, but still let's understand this. There are two types of data collection. One is primary data collection and one more is secondary data collection. In your accountancy term, you call it as journal entry or a day book. Okay, we call it as primary data collection. Okay, means roughly you collect the data. So such data we call it as primary data collection. Okay, a refined data, taking the help of the primary data and coming up with a very decent analysis, we call it as secondary data. Now take an example of previous year reports, magazines, blah 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 will happen your primary data. On the basis of that, you are going to do an analysis. So take an example of your stock market. Okay, you want to invest in a particular stock market, you'll just check with your friends, with the website, everything you'll check. So that is your primary data. And later you do an analysis of that. If I invest into this company, certain percentage of profit I'm going to make out of it. So that is what we call it as secondary data. Okay. Then the next is analyze the data and report preparation. So once everything is done, so the researcher has to analyze the data. Okay. In that there are 3 steps. He has to edit the data. Whatever he has taken in the primary, while doing the secondary or the final report, he has to edit the data. Whatever changes are required, he has to do that. Then coding he has to give. Say for example, Anish has 1, Varun has 2, okay, Minaz has 3, Shubham has 4. So I got to give the codes for them. Okay. Then tabulation, putting it for the calculation. So such thing we call it as analyze the data and report preparation. This is all about research process, students. Okay. Any questions in this, please let me know. The textbooks I referred is C.R. Kothari, then Donald Cooper, then Naresh Malhotra is one more textbook what I am referring, and S.N. Murthy, my guru who taught me research, S.N. Murthy and Bojana sir. Okay. So This is all about Unit 1, Module 1, sorry. Any questions, any ambiguity, just let me know. Okay, we'll work on that. Did you follow any questions? Just let me know. This question will arise, students, in your paper. A very, very important question for the exam. It has to appear in your paper. Okay. Very, very important question for the exam. Okay, any ambiguity, any questions?
Sir, second point in process, evaluation the
Second
cost
point
of
is
research.
process. Yeah, okay, I will do that. Okay, good. Evaluate the cost of research. Okay. Now, say for example, you have planned to launch a product in the market. Okay. Simply you cannot launch the product in the market. You need to understand, you need to conduct the research for that. You need to understand who is my end customer who is going to buy my product. Okay. For that, you need to do a research. Okay. Now, when I say this, you need to do a research. Okay. You need to conduct a survey and ask the people, will they like decoction which is in liquid form? I'll give some more examples, need not worry on that. Okay. Now, say for example, if I'm going to launch 5G connection in the market, okay, Reliance simply didn't launch this 4G connection in the market. It understood from the people what is that customer is looking for. Is he looking for the high speed of internet? Okay, and the calls which are getting bugged up, for every call they are getting charged. Okay, the high prices. Okay, they did a research. The team did a research and they understood. Okay, saying that okay, people are not happy using internet for 1 month with 1 GB for 1 month. There were days when you and me we used to use 1 GB for 1 month. But the company did the research. They asked, went to many people and they asked, if I give you 2 GB per day, or it's 4 GB per day, or it's free internet per day, will you accept it? People said, yes, of course, yes, we want it. So for that, conducting the research, the cost was involved. Okay. Now the cost is involved for it. Okay. The company spent huge amount on it. Great. Okay. Everything fine. But in return, the company has to get benefit out of it. Initially, yes, I gave it free to you. I incurred a loss. I incurred a cost. Okay. But later, in return, I'm going to take back from you, from the customer. I'm going to take back the expenses, whatever I spent. Okay. So here, if you check this, evaluate the cost of the research. A company would like to introduce a new product in the market. The research agencies have given the estimation of the cost and the profit. See, please understand. The cost was so much to manufacture a 4G SIM card. The cost was XYZ, and the profit is so much. So this is what the company initially does the research and tells the company saying that you are going to make 9 billion within 1 year, okay, or it's 90 billion within 1 year. Initially you give it free, later you loot them. That was a simple concept. Okay, initially you give it free, later make the best use of it. Now take an example of credit. Though the company is in loss, okay, initially it incurred loss, but there are a huge number of investors who are ready to invest into this credit. Okay, the Shah who has started this business earlier, who was running free charge, okay, got credit card system into credit card payment system into Indian market. Okay, though he's Indian Gujarati, he used very nice brains. For every payment, you are getting points, and the customer is delighted about it. So he simply didn't get this into the market. He did a research. He understood what is that customer willing to. Those who are using credit card, they are thinking 10 times. If I make the payment, what is that benefit I'm going to get? If I make the payment through credit, okay, I'm going to make huge profit, means benefit. I'm going to receive huge profit out of this, or benefit out of this. So they introduced this credit system into Indian markets. That is one more example, the latest example we can put it in the paper. Is that clear, Shubham?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To put it in a very layman's term, if you're planning to go for a trip, say for example from Belgavi to Goa, you guys are planning to go, all 6 people, your friends. Now Shubham and his friends will sit in the front of internet. They'll check for the hotel. What is that hotel we are supposed to board? Okay. What is that amount we are going to spend in Goa? What is the games we are going to play in? See, everything is calculated. The cost is involved for that, but what is the benefit, profit, what is it? So such thing you can put as an example. Don't write it in the paper, just to make you understand. Evaluate the cost of the research. Yeah. Others, any questions, please? No questions? Someone joined now. Want to end the class? Okay. If there are no questions, I'll stop here, students. In the next class, I'll be sharing the handouts to you. Unit 2 is module 2 is ready with me. Okay, I'll be sharing that. Okay. Just a moment to stop the recording.